What do you get when you put together 150 rescue dogs, 72 animal shelters from all over the United States, Puerto Rico, and the British Virgin Islands? You know what you get? You're going to get the 22nd annual Puppy Bowl. In today's episode, Dan Schachner joins me. He's the Puppy Bowl Rufferee. Now, you heard me right, Rufferee. Now, the Puppy Bowl began as a Super Bowl counter-programming way back in 2005, and boy, do we get into how it's really grown. Now, get this. Close to 15 million people tune in to watch this hilarious, smile-causing, heartwarming show. From the team names Team Fluff and Team Ruff to the MVP, wait a minute, that's the most valuable puppy, the penalties like excessive snoozing and trash barking, to the winning trophy, the Lombardi Trophy. But it's so much more, though. All the animal participants are from shelters, and 100% get adopted. That's right, 100%. Now, it brings awareness to all the participating shelters, but really, it brings awareness to shelters just in general. This year, they have a record 15 special needs dogs. They have a player combine before the game, and at halftime, they bring in the senior dogs. Now, can you guess what that's called? How about the oldies and the goldies? In his 15th year, Dan has been bringing the humor and the fun to the bowl. Now, you're going to find yourself howling with laughter with this, and I promise you, if you've seen the Puppy Bowl or you're just finding out about it, this episode will have your tails wagging for a lot more. It really is a special treat.
For real, 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 for real. Got a bunch of furry friends and I love them all the same. I'm an animal lover, veterinarian is the name. Let's share some pet stories from heartwarming to strange, losses and games, from wacky to insane. For real. You're now tuned in to For Real with your host, Mark Kyle.
Welcome back to the For Real podcast. Today, my guest is one of my favorite shows and I'm a big fan. Please welcome the Rufferee, Dan Schachner of the Puppy Bowl. Dan, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, happy to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, truthfully, and for my listeners, the people that listen, they're big animal people, and if they don't, we'll get into what exactly the Puppy Bowl is. But I've been a fan for a long time, and the fact that you're on here, not only am I a fan of the show, but I'm a fan of you. So I'm really, really glad you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's nice to have fans.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wish I had some. Anyways, but let's talk about you before we get into what the Puppy Bowl is. And now let's talk a little bit about you, I know you were in sports for a while and doing all this stuff, but because you've been doing this for a long time, but let's talk about you so everybody knows you before the Rufferee and then go from there and we'll get into the Puppy Bowl.
Oh, sure. This is my 15th year with Puppy Bowl. So I'm really proud of that milestone. So I've seen it from, when we only had 50 dogs going at a time to now this record-breaking amount of 150 dogs per game. So it's been really inspiring to see how the Puppy Bowl has grown over the years. And Animal Planet knew me and hired me because they were looking for somebody to be, I guess, more of a permanent ref and someone who would be also a spokesperson for these dogs who need voices,
right?
So they can get adopted. And that's how it came about. They had known me as a broadcaster. I'd hosted some sports trivia shows, and I'd also hosted some pet shows for Animal Planet, the network, in previous years. And that's, that's how it worked out. I put out an audition tape because, of course, there's no blueprint for how to do this job. And as I created a tape, sent it in, and here we are.
Well, I think you created the blueprint. You're the one that's really made the show grow to what it is. Without personality, it doesn't happen. But let's go a little bit farther back. Have you been an animal person in your life? I know you're a big person on adoption and that. Let's talk a little bit about you, and then we'll dig into the show and really let everybody know how great it is.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. No, I grew up around dogs, mostly dachshunds. My whole family, from the time that my family's originally from South America, and dachshunds have always been a part of their family and my family growing up. And then when I went to college, of course, there were no dogs. And first few years in New York, there were no dogs as I was kind of making my way. But as soon as I remember my building, there was a landmark day, finally started allowing dogs. I lived in Manhattan at the time. And some buildings were pretty restrictive with their animal policy, but they lifted it because they realized that people simply didn't want to live in buildings without dogs.
Right.
And I thought that was a good sign. And then ever since then, I started fostering, and I fostered for 10 years. Let's see, my not quite first 10 years of Puppy Bowl. Maybe after 3 years, I started fostering Puppy Bowl. Yeah, around Puppy Bowl 11. And after 10 years, I did finally adopt a dog from Puppy Bowl. Yeah. And that was a pretty landmark moment, too.
Well, I read about your dog, Whistle. Is that your dog we're talking about?
Yeah, formerly Whistle, which was an appropriate name for Puppy Bowl.
I know, it's such a great name. I was just going to tell you, I love the name.
Yeah, we loved it. But that we realized maybe better for her as a stage name. And since she retired from the game, she hung up her
whistle,
hung up her cleats, so to speak. She's now called Poppy, P-A-P-I.
Poppy. Oh, well, that would be South America for sure, I guess.
Exactly. A little nod to the heritage. So it's good stuff.
So you know the whole story about dachshunds, too, that they were raised to hunt like badgers and things like that. They're like, and you never realize that when you see them, but they're hunting dogs.
They're hunting dogs. So many of the dogs
have
been bred for either hunting or retrieving of some sort. You know, there's some sort of like hunting or hunting adjacent job. I found out recently my dog is a cross between a toy poodle and a Bichon, but I found that the poodles originally many years ago were bred in Germany. I guess it is a German word for puddle and meant to go into puddles after ducks had been shot and just sort of retrieve them from the puddles and bring them back. And that's how the name poodle came about.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Me neither. Not until recently. I just found that out.
Okay, so let's talk about the Puppy Bowl. Let's talk about the beginning, because I know originally it was like a montage and stuff like that. So let's talk about from the beginnings, and then let's kind of walk our way through the steps to where they are today. Because what you're doing this year, with what I've read, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it, it's pretty amazing. So let's just kind of go from day one to what we're doing now. What an amazing thing you guys are doing.
Okay, so we're looking into the origin story of Puppy Bowl, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
We're 22 now. So 22 years ago, the Super Bowl was the only game in town on Super Bowl Sunday, rightfully so. America gathered for the TV. It was the highest rated thing on TV that day. And the idea or the notion of, quote, counter programming was just really very distant in most people's minds. An executive at Animal Planet decided, well, look, we have nothing to lose. No one's really watching much TV anyway. Let's just take a camera and put it on a small little green pen of dogs, make it look like a small mini football field.
Right.
Let's have the dogs be adoptable, so there's a feel-good aspect to it. But if you go back in the archives to Puppy Bowl 1, I'm sure it's out there on YouTube, you'll see how rough we were, pun intended, I guess, at that initial onset. Again, it was just a couple of cameras. It wasn't very official looking. There weren't many brands involved. And they didn't expect much out of it, but it became a surprise hit because people actually did tune in that day. Next year they tried it, made it a little bigger, a little better. And every year it got better. And every year we put on more brands, got bigger, more dogs, got a bigger roster going, added new elements, more cameras. And by the time I joined in Puppy Bowl 8, it was really an institution. And I think in some ways, one of the original forms of counter programming out there. It gave people something else to watch. Not everybody on Super Bowl Sunday is a football fan, especially if you don't have a team in the game.
Right.
This year it's going to be Seahawks and Pats. If you're not from the Boston area or the Seattle area, either coast,
right,
you might not have that much invested in the outcome. But Puppy Bowl is something that everybody get behind. We air a couple hours before the Super Bowl. So families, if they're getting together, have something to watch that afternoon. And as I said, I joined in Puppy Bowl 8. It had already been really brought into the spotlight at that point, and we just helped grow it bigger and bigger and bigger with every passing year.
Well, it's funny, as a matter of fact, I saw a friend this morning in a coffee shop. He's a Seahawks fan. He's from Seattle, but he's a huge animal guy too. So he flips back and forth. He watches both, even with being a Seahawks fan.
Yeah, you can watch them at the same time, or you can watch us before. We are at 2 p.m. Eastern, so you don't have to miss that other game. This can be just a 3-hour pregame,
right?
Especially you got kids. It's a way to get kids excited that day too. Again, if they're not that invested in the football part of it, I know I have two boys. Early years, it was all about the puppies for them.
So let's talk about that. But by the way, and we've already kind of done it with the rough and all that kind of stuff too. What I love people to have a play on names. Obviously, the For Real podcast is the same idea, right? At some level.
Love it.
So you guys, I can only imagine what the creative team is doing all the time, because there's always probably a new name every year in some weird way that you guys go, weird in a good, meaning a good thing. But let's talk about everything, because you guys this year in particular you have a pregame deal, which is a combine in that. Let's talk all about that.
Sure.
And then I want to get into some of the old stories and how you guys do everything. I mean, for the people who are listening that may have never seen it, we want to make sure that they're going to find it this year and listen to it. So let's let everybody know all the cool stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, we're hard to miss because we're on several networks, streaming on HBO. We're on Discovery Plus. We're on Animal Planet, Discovery, TBS, True TV. And again, it is a little hard to miss, and it's also all over social media.
Right.
So if you're a pet fan of any kind, come Super Bowl Sunday, you're going to see some Puppy Bowl related content. We are, as I said, 2 p.m. Eastern on Animal Planet, 11 a.m. Pacific. And there is a pregame show. It's something we started doing years ago, but we've really taken it up a notch the last couple of years, because instead of just a preview of what we're about to see, we got some action. We are going to actually draft the final 10 players on the roster. So as I said, we have a 150 dog roster this year, split between two squads.
The biggest ever.
Yeah, and then that Puppy Bowl pregame will be essentially a combine where we'll see a skills test of hopeful dogs, and then the final draft of the final 10 in the last portion of the pregame. So it is a pregame, but it's many, many more things than that. And once the game begins, it's action from beginning to end. Not to mention we have we try to fit in as many different adoptable dogs as possible. So not all of them make it onto the field simply because not all of them are playing. There's a lot of players benched. Again, not because we want them to be benched, but because they choose to sit there sometimes.
Yeah.
So we try to, highlight and feature as many as possible.
For real, 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 for real.
And we'll be right back.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
As a pet lover, did you know your pet can benefit from the incredible healing power of stem cell therapy? Prep Therapy offers a groundbreaking solution taken right from your pet's own blood. Say goodbye to joint pain, arthritis, kidney and liver conditions, and more. They'll experience faster recovery, increased vitality, and extended quality of life without the need for surgery or harmful drugs. Put the wag back in their tail and discover Prep Therapy today at PrepVet.com. Save 10% with promo code FurRealPodcast, covered by most pet insurance.
So the teams, let's talk about the two teams. And I'm kind of setting something up there I'm going to tell you that I think is a funny story, at least from my perspective. Let's talk about the two teams, and then I'm going to tell you my story is.
The two teams we have, are Team Rough and Team Fluff.
Right.
That's something that we started putting together about 11 years ago when we started keeping score.
So they're all really clever names. So my daughter's gonna kill me. So my daughter, when she was growing up, because Team Rough has a dog on there that's Miss Coco.
Right.
And my daughter's real name is Cody, but when she was young, she always wanted to be Coco Fluff Bonbon. So now I'm going to have to name it because Coco's on Team Rough.
Right.
So I'm going to have to call her Coco Rough Bonbon now. But I'm reading this thing going, oh my God, it's my daughter all over again. It's pretty funny.
It is. And Coco Rough, what was it? Coco Fluff Bonbon, you said?
Bonbon, yeah. Was she made it up herself, but she was, probably 5 or 6 at the time. So
well, listen, that's a fantastic name for a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Of any dog. Next year, we should just steal part of that. That's great.
Yeah.
Bonbon.
Well, now it's Coco Rough because it is Team Rough now too.
It is rough this year.
Yeah, it would be really rough this year. Anyways, but I want to kind of talk a little bit about your format. I want to get into all the different things, but
okay.
You work with a bunch of shelters.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys do an amazing thing. And so let's talk a little, it's funny. I saw that, and you're also in the U.S. Puerto Rico and BVI.
Yep.
And I'm guessing with Puerto Rico, you're working with the Saddle Project, probably.
Yes, we work with Sado very closely.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. How do you find the shelters you work with,
Hmm.
and how do you, before you have the combine?
Yeah,
How does it work?
sure. Because a lot of the pups, as you're alluding to, and you're right, are chosen before the game, not just in the final moment.
Right.
The way it works with shelters, again, just like our puppy rosters, the amount of shelters we work with every year grows and grows. We're up to 72 shelters across the U.S., Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands this year. 72.
Which is amazing.
And the way we find them, well, we have groups like the Sado Project that we work with year after year and are very dependable. And we like having the aspect of Puerto Rico involved with us as well, which they can bring to the table. But we also don't have a hard time finding volunteers.
I'll bet.
Often rescues will reach out to us and say, hey,
Right.
if there's any way I could get involved in Puppy Bowl, let me know. Because every rescue that we work with, this is verified, reports a tremendous uptick in adoption inquiries once they have a dog featured on Puppy
This is
Bowl.
pretty awesome.
It's a little bit of cred that it adds, I guess, to the rescue or to that litter.
Deservedly, by the way. Deservedly.
Yeah, I think so too. They all deserve a push. So we're trying to include as many different dogs and rescues as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll come to us for new faces. And really, it's not anything complicated. They need to send a dog when it comes time to shooting Puppy Bowl. They need to be between, 3 and 6 months of age, have their basic shots in, pass the vet check. They need to be untrained because we want the untrained dogs, not the show dogs, of course.
Yeah.
And they should be cute and show quite a variety of adoptable dogs, because another part of our mission is to explain to people out there who may be a little hesitant about adopting from a shelter. Oh, I can't find a pure breed, or I can't find that perfect little doodle mix that I want. Oh, no. There are plenty of those types of dogs up for adoption.
Yeah.
So again, we're trying to showcase as many different kinds. We got the good all-American mutts of indeterminate origin, but we've also got the golden doodles and bulldogs and, all the way down the line. Great Danes, Huskies, they're all there.
Well, also, I read that you guys this year are at halftime are doing the oldies and the goldies.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the senior guys too. And I think this is a great addition, by the way, for what your guys are doing. I think it's really because they need representation too.
They need even more representation than the puppies, because
Yeah.
puppies, as you know, are the first to get adopted in any shelter situation or rescue situation. And the dog's parents are often the ones who are languishing there a lot longer. So we've always had some senior element. For almost as long as I've been involved, there's been some, we've tried to include senior dogs in there, and that has grown and grown. But this year, I'm really excited. We're proud to say we have the first ever Pro Dog Bowl halftime exhibition game, which will be, at halftime, an exhibition game of senior dogs, adult dogs, and we've broken them down into two groups, the oldies and the goldies, and they're going to play a mini football game. So this year, you're getting 2 bowls for the price of 1.
Two bowls for the price of 1. And then also you do stuff with special needs dogs too. And let's talk about them. I'm going to make you get everything out here because I want everybody that's listening, if they haven't seen it, you're going to realize how this will warm your heart. And
yeah, it's huge. And I thank you for including all the elements, because we're very proud of them.
Yes, you should be.
Let's see. Special needs are. We just spoke about how adult dogs and senior dogs take a lot longer to get adopted, right? And if our mission is to adopt them all, get as many out there as possible, we have to always remember that the spotlight needs to move from the pups to the pups' parents to the pups that may not look like a normal pup or act like a normal pup, pups with either some physical deformity, or perhaps they have a hearing impairment or a vision impairment, or they're missing a leg. We've got Tegan this year who's in a wheelchair. We've got a little Lychee who's missing, sadly, an ear. But the idea is we have to show that special needs dogs can play as well, as successfully as any, quote, able-bodied dog that is out there. Again, because special needs dogs are the ones that, much like seniors, have a hard time getting adopted. So this year we have a record amount of special needs dogs, 15, and they're from all over the country. And they're participating in the game just like anyone else. You'll see 3-legged dog named Winona, Tegan, who I mentioned. There's so many different groups. They actually have a little bit of a record now, or I should say a reputation of performing very well at Puppy Bowl. In Puppy Bowl 15, we crowned our first ever MVP that happened to be a special needs dog, Bumble. And Bumble was sight and hearing impaired. And believe it or not, because MVP is a very simple category. If you score the most touchdowns, that's it. You win.
Right.
And Bumble scored an inordinate amount of touchdowns. And then it happened again in Puppy Bowl, 20, I think, with Moose, another dog. So we've had 2 special needs dogs made MVP in our year. So we're really proud of that, or I should say proud of them, and hopefully getting the right message out.
And let's tell everybody what MVP really stands for you guys.
Oh yeah, most valuable pup. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love that.
And prior to scorekeeping in Puppy Bowl 11, the Puppy Bowls 1 through 10, all we did was award a most valuable pup. We didn't break. We had no team rough, team fluff. We had no Lombardi trophy. We had no end zone with the big scoreboard. We simply, the pup that scored the most touchdowns, didn't matter the team, didn't matter anything, was crowned the MVP, and that was it. But now there's a big awards ceremony. We have special categories. We have the underdog award for the dog that maybe didn't perform as well as the others, but had a great spirit, was real cute, and America loved them. So they receive an award, and it goes on and on like that.
And by the way, underdog, most valuable puppy, all plays and words. So let's talk about the game. Tell people how they score, how it works, and all that kind of stuff too. If you've seen it, you'll know it. But if you haven't seen it, for you guys that are listening, this is why you're going to want to watch it. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
You're going to see puppies scoring touchdowns in ways that you didn't even think possible. The way that Puppy Bowl is unlike human football is that it's, let's say, more freeform. Instead of one ball let's break it down from the beginning. The field is about, I'd say, 20 feet across, maybe 25 feet, not that big, and it's about 10 feet wide. And we don't have more than usually, I would say 12 dogs on the field at one time. We do rotate them in. We have a big wide bench, huge rosters, as you know, 75 per team. So we try to get in as many different groups as possible. And we start with, in the first quarter, smaller dogs. You got your Chihuahuas, your Doxies, etc. And then we work our way up through the quarters. So by the time you get to the fourth quarter, you're going to get your Huskies, your Great Danes, your Sheepdogs. Again, still in puppy form, but they're much bigger, and we can't have them mixing with the smaller groups. Yeah, so we try to break it down like that. And the objective, of course, is to score a touchdown. How to do it? Really, it doesn't matter. We don't care if the ball is kicked, if it's pushed over with the nose, if it's carried in, if it's accidentally swiped by the tail. By the way, all 4 of those things that I described have happened and have been official touchdowns in Puppy Bowl. And we keep score that way. And it requires several cameras, several people in the control room to catch all the action, replays, all of that. That's that. Those are the rules. There's not much else beyond that in the penalties.
So let's talk about some of the camera setups, because you've got some pretty fun camera setups too. The water bowl one, you still have the water bowl one?
From the beginning, we've always had a water bowl in the center of the field. Not quite at the center, at the 40-yard line, I think. And it's a water bowl that's embedded into the field. We have a camera right underneath it, so we don't miss a little bit of action, not even a minute of action. And I will call penalties if a dog stays in there too long. We call it liquid loitering or illegal bathing or excessive hydration. Depends on the severity.
Yeah, and the severity. So let's talk about that. That leads me right into the penalties, because you've got some amazing penalties. There's a lot of penalties out there.
Yes, and that list is ever growing.
Yeah, I'll bet.
When I first started, I was like, well, there's a lot of pause interference. Simple one, right? An easy pun, a real counterpart in human football. No brainer. But then pause interference became more complicated. Then it was roughing the pupper. Then there was pancaking, when dogs kind of stomp all over one another. There was end zone zoomies. There was invasive sniffing. There was false bark instead of false start. Unsportsmanlike digging. Terrorizing the ref. That's when one dog ripped off my sock and exposed my bare skin to America. It was a very controversial moment. And let's see what else. Oh, illegal napping happens more often than you'd think. There are dogs who are literally in the middle of a play, but will decide to lie down and fall asleep. I had a dog this year that fell asleep as I was issuing a penalty to the dog. Literally had the dog in my hands, telling them that they're going to be set back 5 yards for, roughing the pupper, and dog fell asleep.
That's great.
So these things do happen. There's always some penalties that have, as I said, counterparts in human football. They might have neutral zone infraction. We have neutral bone infraction, things like that. But then there are penalties that are exclusive only to dogs. As I said, you're not going to see illegal bathing on the NFL, but you will on Puppy Bowl.
So let's talk about behind the scenes a little bit, because to coordinate this stuff and to really make it happen, because you've got a couple hours to do it, but there's a lot of dogs and there's stuff happening. So what's some of the crazy things that happen behind the scenes that people don't see on the screen or even on the screen?
It truly takes a village. There are, I would say, at least when you factor in all the shelter reps that come from across the country, because all these dogs have their people that bring them over, that transport them, their handlers. When you factor in the press people, the production people, the lighting, all of it, the people that work on the actual arena. We actually shoot in an old hockey arena in upstate New York that we transform into the Puppy Bowl Stadium. We number near 100.
Wow.
In fact, that might be too low of an estimate, but I would say we're around 100 people to create the Puppy Bowl. It takes a week. It's not shot in one day, and certainly not in real time.
Right.
Because again, we have so many elements and we're trying to fulfill that mission of getting them all adopted. So again, trying to showcase as many different groups as possible. As I mentioned, we have the pregame, we have promos throughout, we have commercials, we have things called adoptables, which are 12 segments that are interspersed throughout the Puppy Bowl that give you a little backstory on dogs that might need a forever home, learn more about the shelter, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
And you guys get a lot of kind of celebrity guests that show up each year too, that are big proponents of adopting. Who are some of the big guests coming in this year? Is it a surprise?
Oh man, there's a few that I'm not allowed to talk about because they're still like TBD, like they're on, but I don't know how much is approved. So I'm gonna plead the fifth there, because I would say stay tuned, not because I'm being uncooperative, but because I've been told to wait.
It's nice to have a surprise. Well, let's go back a few years of other people that have shown up. How about that?
Yeah, Michelle Obama called Puppy Bowl 10 for us. She was the intro person for us.
That's awesome.
Newscasters, people like Brian Williams. We've had celebrities from the puppy world itself. Marnie the pug, etc., things like that. Big, pup influencers. So, not to mention the stuff that we do that's sort of part of our Puppy Bowl outreach, I guess you'd call it.
Right.
When we go to shows across the country and promote Puppy Bowl. They've been on the Today Show. They've been on, you name it, CBS morning, every morning show out there. The Drew Barrymore show, the Kelly Clarkson show. We try to get our pups out there and get them as visible as possible.
Well, the cool thing about it is, and for you guys that are listening, you haven't seen this thing. First of all, one of the reasons I'm trying to tell you this is because I want you to listen and watch it. And the cool thing is that there's a bigger thing here. You're trying to find homes for these animals, and you're giving, not only entertaining people with, obviously they're funny and these puppies are cute and old dogs are cute too, but you're also doing a bigger thing in finding homes for all these animals, which is, it's kind of nice that you're being able to do both.
It is nice to be able to do it. It's very easy to get adoptable, adorable, untrained puppies who are on national TV to find a home. That's not the challenge, right? The challenge is the shelter that brought that group in, is a nonprofit that, is having a tough year. Maybe they've been hit in previous years from, say, COVID, or maybe they've got an influx that they can't handle and they need all the help and publicity they can get.
Right.
Getting those names on the map, on people's radars, especially with social media and what that provides, is a tremendous help. It is as helpful as if you were to, provide them a giant donation or take some dog. For them, the publicity that we are able to provide for them, the spotlight, to use that word again, that we're shining on them, is what's so important. We have a 100% adoption rate by the time Puppy Bowl ends airing each and every year.
Wow.
They all get adopted. Again, it's not hard to get the puppies adopted. It's much harder to get the seniors and the special needs dogs, any adult dogs, the litter, every puppy. We say this too. If you're watching Puppy Bowl and you see a dog from, say, Green Dogs Unleashed, which is one of our shelters that we work with in Virginia, they have amazing dogs, and you call up that shelter because you fall in love with that dog, but unfortunately, because again, millions are watching every year, that dog's been adopted, chances are that dog is part of a litter. So that shelter will have siblings of that dog that look similar, act similar to that.
Sure.
So we're trying to point people to their local shelters and get them involved in adoption in any way they can. And if they can't adopt, they can foster, they can donate, they can advocate. There's a lot of messages that we put out there that can keep people involved and helping dogs, which is our mission.
Well, the other thing is, too, is even if those dogs aren't available, there may be somebody just watching because they love animals, but it may be encourage them to go out and get a dog, too, that needs a home, which is also cool.
Absolutely. Again, you can't, dog may not be right for everybody at every moment in their life. Maybe you'll never have a dog. That's okay. But if you can help get the word out, like you said, if you've got a friend, a family member who might benefit from that, that's something to consider. Again, we've had so many people that come give us so much support over the years and report back to us afterwards saying, that one little dog that you featured on Puppy Bowl allowed my rescue to stay open. It brought us the people and the donations that we needed over time. So yeah, I'm very proud of that.
Well, what most people don't realize when you're in whatever town you're in, there's always a big shelter, but there's these other smaller shelters with people just big hearts that are trying to help these animals do that. And they're on a very limited budget. And when you're bringing awareness to it, you're really, really doing a good thing. So when I'd reached out to you and the fact that you were willing to be on the show, for me, it means a lot to me, but I also want to get the message out there because I think it's a really important message.
It's why I keep coming back every year because it's one of the most rewarding jobs you can ever have.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, of course it's fun. We're making up new penalties as we go, finding out different ways to say, every time a dog pees, you can't just call everything a spot foul. You've got to say tinkle on the 20, illegal watering of the lawn.
Yeah.
Find different euphemisms. Those are all fun and great and creative. And I love how the game keeps expanding and we find different ways to celebrate dogs and football. But the biggest part of it is watching the end of the show, how every dog gets picked up and brought to a new forever home. And to stalk them afterwards on Instagram. That's always fun and see their new life.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Especially for you. You get to know them so well, too. And I love some of the names. That one, I saw the one Lobster Roll.
Lobster Roll. Yeah, I believe he's a bulldog. She's a bulldog on Team Rough. Yep.
But the names are cool. Brulee, Lobster Roll. I mean, I love the names.
Brulee's a Frenchie. We've got Benito, who's named after, of course, Bad Bunny, who was performing in the Super Bowl halftime show. But we've got our own Bad Bunny named Benito, and he'll be on Team Fluff. And we've got dogs that are named after NFL stars as a tribute to our human counterparts. They have Josh Allen. We have Josh Howlin. They have Baker Mayfield. We have Barker Mayfield. You get the picture.
Well, Baker Mayfield. So I'm in Austin. That's where Baker's from here.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He went to my daughter. He was 2 years younger than my daughter. So, my daughter went with his brother was a friend of my daughter. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Hopefully he'll translate to some tickets for you guys down the line.
Well, we'll see about that one. But anyways, let's talk about for everybody again. I know you mentioned early on, I know you're on a variety of different things. Let's go back through the list of where people want to watch it, how they can find that.
Oh, sure.
I know you're on social media, all that stuff, so people can find everything.
Yeah. If you want to follow my adventures, this is my most active time of the year. I'm all over promoting Puppy Bowl, and you can follow me at the Puppy Bowl Ref on Instagram. Very easy find. I should come right up when you search the Puppy Bowl Ref. As far as the show, which is most important, we want everyone to tune in. Animal Planet or Discovery or streaming on Max, TBS, True TV at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on Sunday, February the 8th.
Right. And also, though, you can have a pregame thing, too. So for people who want to see some of that stuff, too, that'll be available, too. But the game,
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay, cool. Now, like I had mentioned to you, I always do a really silly animal joke at the end of every episode.
I'd love to hear it.
No, you don't. This is going to be the last time you say I'd love to hear it. But I made one specifically to relate to you.
Okay.
And so, by the way, if you guys didn't catch it earlier, I wasn't saying referee. I was saying Rufferee. And Dan's the Rufferee, by the way, to play in names. So here's my joke for you. Well, it's kind of a joke.
Okay.
Why is the referee so popular with the players?
I give up.
Because he always hands out treat-sized penalties.
They wish.
Yeah, they wish, exactly. Anyway, Dan, I just want to thank you so much for being on the show. I know that you're doing it next week, so it's coming up, and you took the time. I'm just really feel privileged to have you. I am a big fan of you, and I'm a big fan of the show, so I really appreciate it.
Oh man, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Since you're into bad jokes, I've got several in my arsenal. May I share one?
Oh, good. Let's go.
All right. What is a dog's favorite football position?
I don't know. What is it?
With some thought, I bet you'd get this if you like bad jokes. The golden retriever.
Oh, I like it. So I have one for you. What do you call a dog that likes to race?
Not a greyhound. A speed demon. I don't know. What do you got?
A lap dog.
A lap dog. That's good.
There we go. Anyways, I'm going to let you go. But for everybody else out there listening, please keep listening. By the way, if you're hearing this show, we're airing this on Tuesday before the show comes out. Pass the word, watch the show, adopt the dogs, do all the things, become a huge fan, follow Dan on his the Puppy Bowl Ref, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening. For real.
That concludes this episode of For Real with your host, Mark Kyle. For previous and future episodes of For Real, listen via all major podcast streaming sites.